It is Talking Buccaneers. It is Fumane Musisinyane. It is the Thursday before the Friday when the mighty men in black are going to take on the team of choice, led by a once man in black in Fatlu Davids. But let's be honest, once you leave Orlando Pirates, you cease to be a mighty man in black, especially a mighty man. Um, yeah, and just where I want to start off is there's just a feeling in the air, and I know the Buccaneers can feel it, that going into this one, there's a lot of expectation. Expectation in that we already knew that we've got a strong team. We already know that we've got a good team. We already know that we've got good players. But I think where we want to build on from is that we want to see a team that plays like it's a good team. I think for so long we've just fairly gotten by, and we've allowed a lot of disrespect in the league. And yeah, I just feel like coming off of that All Stars game, and maybe a lot of people are claiming that it's a bad judgment, the All Stars game. I think that's a lot of disrespect. I think they made a good case for themselves. They showed just how organized they could be in containing the Orlando Pirates team in that game. Although I feel like that's partly because we don't approach games in the right way, especially when we start. We've always got to wait until the second half to be able to impose ourselves and to impose our quality and to be able to carve up teams and open them up and break them down. But yeah, coming off of that game, I think we saw what we've always wanted to see. I think it's not even a case of winning the game. It's just a case of how we played. It's a case of how the players showed the quality that they have and turning a game around by just sheer brilliance and intelligence and combinations and interplays. And I think going into this Maritzburg team, which is a team that's kind of struggling a little bit, I think they are a wounded animal at the moment. They lost to Kaizer Chiefs. We can come into this one with a lot of vibrance and confidence and momentum, and we could hurt them. And I think that's very necessary in this game going into the derby, because I think we've had a lot of games where we've had a lot of stop starts in the season where we've won a game and then you thought, okay, something's kind of building here, something's combining here. I think you saw it in the game that we drew against Sundowns in the MTN8. So we drew 0-0, and you thought we're going to build on that because we imposed ourselves in that game. We dominated them. We were able to build up and break teams down in possession to be able to, because I think one of the things that I always say and I always think is that although I think we are dangerous on the counter attack, but I think a team as loaded with quality around the pitch as Pirates needs to be able to break down teams in possession, and that's just something that we struggle with, and that's just something that I was proven wrong of in the game against All Stars. So it would be nice to see if we could do that sort of thing in this game against Maritzburg. Can we be able to open up a team with possession? I think we are very predictable in that we use speed and breaks and counter attacks. It's great. It's a part of. It's a phase of play in football. It's one of the phases of attack. In that, as soon as the opposition lose the ball, can you be quick in hitting them on the break while they are disorganized, thinking about attack? Can you be able to break them down quickly? But I just also think that there are times when the opposition is very organized and they've got their two banks of four, and they're just looking to contain you. To let you go outside and close those channels. All the dangerous spaces are closed. And so now you've got to find a way to open them up. And I think we are very capable. I think in the width that we have in the team, just how the left back can hug the touchline and the wing back on the right can hug the touchline, and then you can bring those dangerous players in those possessions, in those channels, the likes of Loch and Bule and Saleng. These are the intelligent players, and Dlondlo, who can find those pockets in the opposition, in between the opposition's lines, and be able to turn and be able to have interplays and break the team down and make them defend facing their own goal. So I think this is a game where, personally, I think, you can almost feel it speaking to a lot of Buccaneers that we expect to be able to impose ourselves, to impose our quality. We've had games where we've won and kind of did the thing where, okay, we've got the 3 points and we're moving along. But it's just not gotten to a point where you feel like we can take on a league campaign and challenge it and win games where maybe struggling with how can we score. This team is tight and it's compact. And so, yeah, I'm excited for this one. It'll be exciting to see. I mean, at the time of recording, I haven't seen the press conference from the technical team of Orlando Pirates. So, I mean, I don't know. Well, one thing's for sure that Jose Rivera will not be on the bench. So, obviously, Mandla Ngagazi will be in charge along with the other assistant coach whose name slips my mind every single time. But they'll be in charge. And yeah, but obviously the coach will have been in training. He'll have been part of the preparation of the team that's going to face Maritzburg. And my concern with that is that obviously there's an insistence in our club to keep players playing that are not on form. I mean, I don't want to be on this platform bashing players for whatever reason, but I think we need to hold low standards accountable. We need to hold the club accountable for players that are not delivering, but continuing to play each and every single week. I think one of those players, one of those players is Dion Otto for me. I think he's a very good player. He's proven himself and needs not to prove to us now. But I think he's off form and he needs to sit on the bench. I respect the guy. I appreciate that he's working for his family and he's maybe been under a lot of heat in the past few weeks in the things that have been said in these platforms and other platforms about him. But I just hope that he can sit on the bench and just watch and then try and regain his form. I think maybe it's a case where his training levels at training are high. Maybe the coach sees things that we don't see because we just watch the game on match day, right? But I do think that it's been a while now. He's not delivered for a while. I think what's asked of him could be what's to his detriment in that he covers the whole left flank. And sometimes a bit redundant because we also play Maela behind him as a left centre back who sometimes plays sort of like a wide centre back who will always occupy the left back position. But then as soon as we get in defensive mode, he tucks in and Otto plays as that left back. So I think that's maybe too demanding for him to be playing on that whole flank alone. So yeah, I would hope that tomorrow is that game where he's going to sit on the bench. And the other thing that I hope for tomorrow is that there's something that's brewing, especially in the build-up phase of Orlando Pirates, in that Sipho Shayina has been a bit of a revelation at goalkeeper. I mean, I still want a bit more time to see his shot-stopping abilities and just his command in the area, but I feel like that's something he can grow in with experience and with playing a lot of games at this level, especially at Orlando Pirates. I mean, I know he's been a PSL player, but it's just a different dynamic when you get to Orlando Pirates. To be a leader of men from the back and be able to command, just like Ofori, who I admire for. I think Ofori is great in the area in that he's very vocal. He's a leader and he talks to the defense a lot of the time. And that's something that I wish I can see Sipho Shayina growing in, right? But so far, so good. I think I love just how he's very good at his feet and he's good at stepping in between the centre backs so that we can build up with the three. But the thing about when you build up with three defenders at the back against two strikers is that you've got to sacrifice players up front. But if you've got a goalkeeper who's able to step in, you free up a man in the build-up. And so you can bring the midfielders in to come and collect the ball in smart positions and escape the front press like that. So I think Shayina has been a gift, but I feel like just to complement him, if we could bring Da back into the starting 11, that would be great. That would be amazing for us as Pirates fans. I think Nda is no doubt the best ball-playing centre-back in the club, arguably in the league. I think if you bring him there and place VC alongside him, just for the contrast in that Nda is more of like a sweeper kind of ball-playing defender and VC is more of like a stopper and a tough tackler and very good in, arguably good in the air, a bit shaky on set pieces, defending set pieces. We've conceded a lot of goals on set pieces. Him and Kogi especially are the culprits in those games that we've conceded set pieces. But that's not what I'm talking about now. What I do wish for is that his aerial ability that I see on aerial duels in game can be sort of seen in set pieces. But I think Nda and Sibisi would be a good, and I mean, we've seen it in the three at the back in moments in games. Nda and Sibisi, just how they can play together in that centre-back position. I'm not for the three at the back formation. I think we ought to eliminate, because it makes us, it's almost like a defensive. I know a lot of people see it as we only play with three defenders, but it depends how you look at it, because a lot of the time it looks like a five at the back, where you've got Shandu or Munyani as a right wing back, then you've got Otto as a left wing back, and then you've got Maela as a centre back, left centre back who tucks in and goes to the left, depending on what's happening in the game in a particular moment or in a certain moment. But a lot of the time it's a five, and I feel it's very defensive. It's not adventurous. It's not brave. It's very conservative. I want us to go back to a four, and I want us to go back to a four in this game. I want us to play Paseka Marco at left back, who's our best left back. I do think that the coach is going to bring back Innocent Maela, who served his suspension and might come back in this one. Maybe he's going to bring him back to prep him for the Chiefs game. But I think we should going forward. I want us to play with Paseka Marco at left back, but I don't see the captain sitting on the bench. But yeah, have Marco at left back, Shandu on the right. Shandu's been doing great. Actually, I don't mind Munyani starting. Munyani is my favorite one on the right. He's got a bit of defensive things that he can work on, especially like timing and just defensive positioning. He's not I know he's a forward convert defender, so he's someone who instinctively wants to go forward and he's thinking about going forward. I think he's got a lot to work on in his game on the right, but thank God he's got the age on his side at 22, 23, maybe. So, yeah, I mean, it's a coin toss for me whether to play Shandu on the right or to play Munyani. I think Shandu has done okay for himself in the opportunities that he's gotten. I mean, he gets substituted every game for Craig Martin, which is a huge question mark for me. Again, Craig Martin is one of those ones where I keep asking myself, why is he playing? Why is he even playing for Pirates? I mean, all respect to the guy. Congratulations for him to come to a club like Orlando Pirates. But I mean, this is more of a question to the board after releasing Wade Euster. Similar profile, similar kind of player, similar kind of age, similar style. You release Wade Euster and you go and buy Craig Martin. I mean, I struggle for the logic there. I really struggle for the logic there. I wonder why Craig Martin is at the club. I think he was doing great for himself at Cape Town City. And yeah, so it's just one of those ones where every single game he's got to come on for Shandu. And yeah, so I would have Shandu there. And in midfield, again, it's a coin toss for me. I know other people prefer Tim there. Others prefer Tabang Munari. I think in this game, who we're going to see is Tabang Munari. Him having set out that game against All Stars, I think what the coach is going to do is interchange those two in the midfield, because a lot of the time they give you a similar level of contribution. So it's not that they dominate games or anything like that, but they also not the weakest link of the team. They do a great job, especially personally like Munari, in how he can protect the ball in that number 6 possession. I know he plays a lot of safe passes to the sides, but I think he's very good at protecting it, and he doesn't lose it, and he's a workhorse. He's got the energy, he runs around, and he protects the team, which is what Tim does typically also in protecting the team. And he's a fan favorite, obviously, Miguel team, and he's a leader also. So arguable who to start there, but for me, whichever one or whoever starts, I'm okay with that. I think Munari will not start, definitely not. Goodman Musele might be injured, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, I would play a 2 in that midfield of Tabang Munari as more of the defensive, conservative central midfielder who just keeps the ball ticking, and then play with Ndlondlo, who can play more as a deep-lying central midfielder, so a deep-lying number 6, who's more responsible for playing those line-breaking passes, right? Those penetrative passes into the channels, finding those players, that 3, which I'm going to get onto in a second, but that 3 that plays in front of the 2, but behind the striker. So the 3 off right, Saleng, I think obviously he picks himself. In the center, maybe Lodge, yeah. Lodge, a lot of people are saying Lodge should, going forward, let him play number 10. I still see him playing on the left and playing someone else at number 10. So maybe playing Pule. In fact, I think that 3 can interchange positions. that's what's great. I think Saleng is also surprisingly good at the number 10. I saw him in moments in the game against All Stars, in that he's got the ability to hold on to the ball. He's not just a quick player who's able to run past players, but he's very good at also protecting it and finding his teammates. So I think they can interchange positions there just to keep it interesting and keep the defenders guessing and keep the opposition guessing, right? But that three in front of Ndlondlo and Tim, or Ndlondlo and Munari, I think Ndlondlo deeper can be able to find those players in those channels. I saw something I really liked in how he was always looking for Lodge in the number 10 position. As soon as he gets the ball, he looks up and he finds that pass. No, I mean, he made a lot of errors in losing the ball, but if you're going to play risky passes, your passing statistics in the successful passes is not going to be very high. And I don't mind that. So that's what was happening a lot of the time with Ndlondlo, but I don't mind. But I would love to see him in that position. And I've already said the three, Lodge, Pule, and Saleng, but I think he might go for Otto. And in front of them, for me, it's Toyin Kos also, Erasmus or Chukamanja. Chukamanja is very smart in having interplays with the likes of Lodge. So, it's going to be interesting, especially before the Chiefs game, to see the form in this one. But I don't want to get into the Chiefs game. I'll be here next week to talk about that. But before that, I'll be here tomorrow to talk about the match reaction. Anyway, up the Bucks. I hope we win this one. Cheers.